where they are. I had a pair of Adidas and I changed them for a pair of Nikes.
Well, what was the thinking with going to Mark Tibbs and back to the Tibbs family?
I just think that it was a decision that, lockdown come, was having no luck. I was at home, and Ben Davison, he set up a gym out in Arlo, and it was hard for him to travel away and do camps, and he's got a lot of fighters there, and it's not right on me dragging them around the country and around the world training camps because I can't do a training camp at home. Everyone knows I need to be away like I have this time, and I don't want to go to someone fresh and new who think they know me and they don't. So I know the Tibbses know me well. Obviously, Dominic Ingle knows me well, and Ben Davison knows me well. So, that was the strategy behind it.
Obviously, you mentioned there about the Canelo and Alvarez, Canelo and Callum. Was there never any option for you to maybe drop this fight and get Canelo in December, or would you not even have considered it?
No, listen, I always said in December, if the fight was in December, I always said I'd have been ready. But again, my fight with Martin Murray only got announced, 5 weeks ago? So they had all that time to get in touch and they didn't ring up. And they didn't try to get in contact. So clearly they didn't want me. But, for me to fight Canelo Alvarez, in lockdown, they sort of caught me out a little bit, but which the fight would never have happened anyway because he had his lawsuit. But I wasn't prepared just to go in there and take, millions of pounds and to turn up there half-hearted and half in shape. You've got to go, like I said earlier on, to beat someone like him, you have to win convincingly. And I will be on it now until May. And if it's me in May, it's me. If not, then, 100%, I will be pushing my management company, MTK, for a big, big fight next year. It has to be unification, whatever which way it is.
Do you feel you need to put on a really good performance on Friday to force that issue home to get that big unification fight or the Canelo fight?
Do you know what? As we see the other day, we see Danny Jacobs and Rosado, so we see these type of fights and, sometimes they pan out in the favourite's favour and sometimes they don't. It's sort of a win-win for Martin Murray, really. Everyone's writing him off and everyone's saying he's old, he's finished, he's different. So, yeah.
All right. Cheers, Billy.
See you later.
Thanks, Chris. If we go to Ron Lewis from Boxing Scene next, please.
Hiya, Bill. Do you think, you've had fights in the past where, if you haven't got motivated for a big fight and, there was a classic one in Scotland, obviously. And is there any risk of this, or is Martin someone you know just so well that you know what he's got to do and you know what you got to do to not let him into the fight?
Oh, there's always a risk, mate. There's always a risk. There's a risk I could go out there and get knocked out in one round. That's why people watch boxing. There's a risk that, I could go out there and get the job done in one round. There's always a risk. There's an element of risk of people's lives in a boxing ring. So, people tune in. If they knew 100 million% I had the win and, it was all one-sided, they wouldn't watch it. But, so there's obviously that risk. But I haven't overlooked Martin. I've just trained and prepared myself the best I can for this day. So, I know how tough Martin is and I know what he's going to bring to the table and I know he don't lay down. So I know I can't afford that same sort of performance.
You said before about the importance of going away to train and get yourself away from home. How have you been during lockdown? Has it been an easy time for you, or?
Yeah, it's been all right, mate. That's all I've been doing. There's plenty of sex, to be honest with you. That's all I've been having, plenty of sex and just training, really. But that's the main thing. What got me through lockdown was the sex.
Excellent. Take care, Billy. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Ron. It goes to Luke Reddy from the BBC next, please.
What's going on?
Luke, you're on mute, mate. If you just take yourself off mute.
My apologies. Hi, Billy. How you doing?
Hold on, Luke.
You mentioned Martin Murray's career, and he's gone close so many times. I mean, as you say, this is his last shot. I wondered, could you put yourself in his shoes? You achieved success quite young. I mean, what do you think that must be like for him mentally to have to know that it's gone this long and this is one more chance?
Well, look, Martin's got his own mind. Martin's got his own head. You know, he's trained. He's prepared for this. How he wants to prepare for it. Whether he wants to train on emotions for this fight, whether he wants to train on grit and determination for this fight, or whether he wants to train on experience, it doesn't really matter. You know, he has to find a way to beat me. You know, and I think that'd be difficult for any fighter on the planet at my weight on their night. So, you know, I've got to take my hat off to him, what he's done. I was supposed to fight him. I couldn't look at it and say, well, I was mandatory for his British title many, many moons ago, and he vacated. And we was both. I was just really turning into a man, and he was in his prime. So I was willing to take that chance then. And I'm sure, you know, the shoe's on the other foot now. He's got to take that chance now.
You just mentioned there about, you know, the level you're at and how hard to beat. There's been a few instances coming out of, well, during lockdown, and people then fighting and maybe falling a little short or not being as good as they want. So we've not been able to see anything of you for a long time. What level do you think you're at this very point?
Listen, it's one of them. You know, I've done the best I can and get as fit as I can in the amount of time I've had. You know, I've took myself away for 7 weeks. You know, I put myself for another training camp. You know, so I've done what's put in front of me. So, you know, I'm hoping that, you know, the ring rust is not as rusty as that what it can be. I hope I'm a bit looser and smoother than I've been in previous fights before when I've been out the ring for a long time. So, you know, maybe it's a blessing for Martin Murray. Maybe, you know, it suits him more this fight than me.
Other than the sex, is there anything different that you've done with the new, you know, a new regime?
It's really outdoor sex, plenty of sex in the woods. You know, I think it's good. You know, I've got a naturist near me, and I go down there and that, and you know, I do the jogging and all stuff like that with the ladies, and put myself out there. It's very good. That's how I've been training for this fight, to be honest. You know, in lockdown and some of this fight, sex seriously for stamina.
Nice. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. If we go to John Denham from Boxing News next, please.
Hey, Billy, how's it going?
How are we going, John? How are you, pal?
Oh, very good, thank you. Very good. Obviously, you know, you've had a couple. Well, you were meant to fight Martin a couple of years ago. You had a couple of fights fall through. Is there any like bad blood between you, or do you have a sense there's some unfinished business? Especially, I guess, when you
listen. Obviously, I can sense frustration from Martin's side. He'd done 2 training camps and 2 fights, didn't happen. It was what it was at the time. At world level, if I was to injure myself now, then I'm not going to take that chance and get in the ring and put, you know, such you know, as my world title on the line. You know, it means everything to me because, you know, I've worked since I've been a little boy for this, and to get here and to get in the ring just because, you know, you're expected to get in the ring and you got an injury. You know, sadly for him, the same injury that I had, the calf, happened twice in both training camps, back to back. You know, obviously didn't give it enough time to heal. I rushed back in training because, you know, I wanted to, but I'll give him my word he'll fight me, and you know, it's a bit later than expected, but here we are. It's on Friday night.
Yeah, and like you said, you could have picked easier opponents for this fight.
Well, look, me and my management team, MTK, we sat down and I put some names forward. There was Callum Smith's name put forward, who I put forward. They were Canelo Alvarez. They were Demetrius Andrade's. They were who else were they now? They were Parker's. But I'll get my Mantry out the way, but he was already tied up. All of these fighters were tied up. You know, even when the Martin Murray was put on the table, you know, they was still. I was still pushing for Demetrius Andrade, but you know, he was tied up, and obviously he's got some sort of shit in the pants job and pulled out because he was supposed to be fighting Dusty, and he's pulled out for some reason. He don't, you know. So really, I wanted a bigger fight, but you know, as in a name, an unbeaten record and stuff like that, because obviously I know I'm going to get critics saying, "Oh, Martin Murray this, Martin Murray that," but he's coming to win. He never comes to lay down. You know, if Martin Murray came to lay down, then I'd be confident enough to say I'll give someone my old purse because I know it's going to be a tough fight, you know?
Yeah, and in that sense, how dangerous is it? Because you mentioned how big next year could be for you with the
Well,
Canelo
listen, it's
fight
very, because
potentially.
if Martin wins, then he's sitting in the driving seat. If Martin wins, then he's got the golden ticket, and he sits there and he waits for that. He waits for that chance. If not the rematch, so financially, it's certainly he's not going to get any better for him. So good luck to him. I'm happy he's getting paid well, and he's got a lovely family. There's no animosity there with me and him. But I can sense a bit of frustration in him, and if I can get that frustration out of him in the ring on Friday night, I should have a field day.
Excellent. Well, that's great. Thanks very much, Billy. Cheers.
Thanks, John. If you go to David Charlesworth from Press Association next, please.
Hello, how are you doing?
How we going?
Good, thank you. This fight is obviously a test. You've just said that. An opportunity to get some tough rounds under your belt. So is this a good thing to have this now before a step up in competition rather than going into the
Listen, I would be very disappointed if I went in there and blew Murray away in 1 round. I'd be very disappointed. I really, really need rounds. I've been out 1 year. I need rounds to go into big fights for next year, to brush ring rust off. It's all right going in there and thinking you're going to look good, knocking someone out 30 seconds, and I'm the man. I'm not going to get much credit for that. I need to get in there, and you can do all the sparring in the world, but getting under them lights, under the real thing, that's what I need to go into these big fights next year. But to step across that bridge, I need to beat Martin Murray, and I know that. So the fight's not yet to happen. We've seen a lot of upsets this year. And Martin Murray's not one of them fighters where you say, you can completely ever write him off. I know I've got a bit of youth on him, but, boxing's a funny game. We can look at, if you want to look at youth, you can go back to the David Price fight and Glenroy Thompson, was it? I'm sure I got his name. Maybe right there. Going back to that sort of thing, David had a lot of youth on him, but he still got the win. So you got to look at all these aspects in boxing, and you got to take them into account. That fight's never won until your hand gets raised in the air.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Just like I just said, maybe looking ahead to next year, would you be happy to go back down the middleweight? I mean, I know you've mentioned unifications. Would you look at light heavyweight, or is your sole focus on the middleweight when discussing these big fights?
Well, listen, it is what it is. I'm up for the big fight. So if there's a big fight at middleweight, I'm sure that I could make middleweight. And realistically, I am a middleweight. But I'm obviously mixing it with the big boys at 12 stone, and I want the big fights at 12 stone. But look, it's one of those. Everybody for middleweight's moved up to 12 stone now, and I think it's the hottest weight division in the world at the minute.
Fair enough. All the best Friday. Cheers, Bill.
Cheers.
Thanks, David. If we go to James Lupton from Pro Boxing Fans.
Yeah, Bill, mate, how you doing?
Well done, James. How are you, mate?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, mate. Just want to talk a little bit outside the ring, your sort of management side and advisory side of things. You've got a couple of boys on the card, Dante Dixon, Louis Edmondson. Is that one eye on the future? Are you sort of looking into that side of things?
I'm certainly looking forward to that side of things in the future, at a later date, in a few years yet. But, when you see young talents coming through and, you can spot world elite talent coming through that you believe can be world champions, it'd be nice. It's nice to work alongside them. And I believe that them two, they're managed by myself and co-managed with them, TK. I believe that they can be world champions too, guided with the right advice and the right fights.
How important is it for these guys? Because normally they're probably on small hall shows, but with your help, they can get on these bigger shows. How much does that accelerate their progress?
Like I say, to get on these bills, just to be seen on these bills and to be canned for Sky, I think that, that it's very important for even these promoters to see these young talents, because these are the future coming forward. All of the AJs, myself, the Furies, all the big names in the UK, we're not going to be around for the next 10 years. That's for sure, where these guys are. And it's important to get them seen early and get that stamp on them where people go, do you know what? Yep, we'll have him. And, get their careers and guide them on the right path to world titles.
And just the last one from me, Bill. You mentioned about shaking the ring rust. You mentioned about, you've not been in there for a long time. Is that something you considered when considering your opponent in White Murray?
Well, it's the same for him. He's been out the ring a long time. So obviously, look, when I'm making, if they're saying to me, right, there's your day, them big fights ain't available, this is who is available for you. I'm looking at the best option on paper that I can get for a fight to get me motivated. And I looked at Martin Murray and I think, well, I know he's going to come to fight. And he's been inactive as well. So, we've both been inactive. So it's one of them, who's going to have the better night. And I believe it's me. And he probably believes it's him. I know he ain't going to enter this fight and sign a contract believing, right, I fight Billy Jones, go and pick your money up and go home. Because we all know he's not built like that. He's a 4-time challenger for the world title, and I believe that he should have been a 2-time world champion out of them 4 challenges. So, it's not a bad pick.
Absolutely. Nice one. Cheers, Bill.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, James. We'll go to Joe from Seconds Out.
You're right, mate. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. You?
Yeah, good, thank you. So, do you think this is going to be the toughest fight of Martin Murray's career on Friday? Sorry, as because he's been in many tough fights before.
Well, it's one of them that I can't. It's not. That's what's happened in the past with him, and all his history that's gone. That's that we're in today's world. We're in 2020 now. So, is it going to be? It's how tough are we going to make that fight? Is he gonna come and commit? And can he take as much punishment as he did in his prime? He's young, 29, 30s. No, I don't know. So, no, I'm hoping that it is going to be his toughest fight because that's what I'm there for. I'm there to do what no one else has done, and that's obviously, pull a sensational win off, whatever way it may be. But, boxing's boxing, like I said earlier on, and no one's guaranteed to win, are they?
And where would you rank him in comparison to the people you fought?
Well, I've never boxed a fellow who's boxed for full world titles before. So, you've got to put him up there. And people's writing him off because of his age. But, he's not one of these that sit on the couch. I think he's been doing his personal training. He's been active. He's been training. He's been in the gym. So, it's not so he's been up to 20 stone and getting down and he's not been in the ring for 5 years. The pandemic's come. I think he boxed just before the lockdown. So, it is what it is.
Fair enough. And lastly, I know you just mentioned you think it's going to be important to get rounds in as you haven't been in the ring for so long. Do you think it's more important to sort of look good and maybe win in impressive fashion or just get the rounds simply so you're in better shape for when you do face Andrade or Canelo next year?
I think whatever happens, it's important to get the rounds in.
Yeah.
I think this fight is going to be rounds because he's a tough game, cunning old fox. He knows how to get through. He took Golovkin in his prime 11 rounds. So and that was when Golovkin was destroying everybody. So that he's always got that know-how about the ring about him. So you've got to take that off to him and you've got to give him credit and you have to say that he is going to give me rounds at this stage because he's made to do that.
Okay, thanks, boss. Good luck.
Thanks, Joe. If we go to Gary Newman, please. Gary, if you just take yourself off mute. There you go.
Billy Joe, whatever you say, you are expected to win on Friday night, and then hopefully for you that would take you to Canelo. I'm just wondering why you would beat Canelo and how can anybody beat Canelo in these current times at the moment? What are your thoughts on that?
Why I would beat Canelo and how I would beat him?
Well, how would anybody beat him over the next year or so, the way he looks?
I know how I would beat him, but, I haven't got Canelo next, so I won't be putting that out over over to the media in other ways. And I've worked very hard on the game plan for the last 2 years on how to beat him. And when someone just getting when they're giving someone 4 to 5 weeks notice, I believe that's not enough time to prepare mentally in your own head to beat someone like him, because of the fact of the judges, promotions, everything's going to be set up to suit him. I mean, what they'll probably do, they'll probably get Callum Smith out there, and for the duration he's out there, he'll probably be doing stuff like this, just talking, raffling on to the media and talking more than rather getting ready and training and focusing on a game plan to win. But Joe Gallagher's a very experienced trainer, so hopefully, Callum's been under the impression and had the news for the long term that he's fighting Canelo. Maybe we see an upset, but at the minute, I don't see no one beating him without a proper training camp and fully mindset.
Looking forward to Friday. You're quite right to say one punch could do it, obviously, but in most people's view, you're going to be a really red-hot favourite. And would you not agree it's not quite as close as the Dubois-Joyce was on paper, even if Joyce was a 3-1 outsider? I mean, it's all stacked in your favour, isn't it?
Listen, to be honest with you, it's stacked in my favour on paper. But as we know, paper can burn, paper can be thrown in the bin. The script can be torn up and thrown away. So, I've been inactive for over a year now. My last performance wasn't the best in the world, for Matchroom. But, I'm really looking in my own head and mindset. I know that I need to bring a performance out where people go, well, no matter who were in front of him that night, he still was going to look sensational. So in my own head, that's what's in my head, and please God, I'll get that performance out and move on to bigger and better things. But at the moment, Martin Murray is I'm putting him down as the number one and me the number two. For me to make sure that I don't slip up.
You've been around a fair old while. Do you appreciate these fights and these situations more now than you probably did earlier?
I've been around a long time, but I just think that you've got to be thankful that we're allowed to even have any sport in this situation. There's poor people home now. You've got like the elderly at home sitting there alone and not having no one around them. My nan's at home. No one's allowed around there, and it's a very lonely life for them. And we get the privilege at least looking forward to doing something we love, whether there's crowds there or not. So I've got to really be very, very thankful to my management. MCK has been very, 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 extremely patient with myself and worked alongside me, and Matchroom. So I'm happy I'm out, and we've got to be thankful.
Just like to know as well, what do you think about fighting in front of no crowds? How strange is that going to be for you?
Oh, look, it's one of them. When that bell goes, I don't hear any crowd anyway. I don't box. I'm not a crowd pleaser, because out of my 29 fights, if I've took 10 clean punches, then that's a lot. So, I don't fight on the crowd's reaction. I fight on my own intelligence and my own know-how.
I'm looking forward to the fight. Good to see you back in action. Good to see you back in the ring. Good luck.
God bless you. Thank you.
Okay, we've got time for one more before we let Billy Joe go. So if we go to Jeremy Herages, please.
Hi, Billy. Thank you for taking the time to talk. I'm curious, going into 2021, do you have an ideal number of fights that you would like to see? Or does that not matter as long as you get a unification bout?
Certainly, I want to be active. And that's the reason why I'm fighting Friday night, because if I was worried about that, I'd have went, no, I'll wait to 2021. But, I need to get active to be in the running for these fights and get the rounds in, and sharpen the tools and grease and, the chains and stuff like that. So I need the rounds. But, the main thing is I do want to be out at least 3 times going into it. But then that's at least minimum 3. So, there's big fights out there, and I'm sure that Eddie Young can make that, the stable of fighters he's got, and big fights like that.
Final question for me, and I didn't think I'd be asking this one, but you talked about training and about sex. Is it safe to assume that you're not of the belief that sex weakens the knees, weakens the legs? And do you abstain?
It's strong. When you do the sex in the woods, like when you leg over the trees and under the trees and under the bushes, different positions and stuff like that, that's a workout. That's a pure workout, and you're having fun. That's called a fun workout.
So no abstaining from it leading up to the fight whatsoever.
No, just a couple of knee burns.
Sounds good. Thank you, Billy.
No problem.
Right, and on that note, thank you very much, Billy, for your time. We'll see you in the bubble later this week. Cheers.
See you later, mate.
Okay, next up we have Josh O'Reilly, who's obviously in the WBA lightweight world title eliminator with James Tennyson next. We'll just let him in now. Andy Waters, I've spotted you there. So Andy, if you have any questions for Josh, start things off, mate. There we go.
Will?
Yep, can hear you. We're just waiting for Josh to come in to the call now. He should be joining. There we go, it's connecting to audio now. Just give it a moment. There we go. Josh, yes, do you want to fire away?
You're muted.
Josh, if you just come off mute and you can see the mute button. There we go.
Sorry, man. I've never used this shit before. Sorry, guys.
No worries at all, Josh. Thank you very much for joining.
Yeah, no
We'll
worries.
kick off with.
Hi, Josh.
Hey, how you doing?
Josh, how you doing? Only Waters here in the RCs. Josh, I'm sure you're looking forward to the fight. Have you seen much of James Tennyson in the past?
Yeah, I've watched him for a while actually. Seen, just probably when he was coming up a bit. Just used to follow the box track kind of around the world, so I paid attention to them. But seeing some of his older fights, I like the way he fights. It's a fun guy to watch.
Yeah, he's been stopped 3 times, but since he moved up to lightweight, he's looked extremely good. You're a career lightweight. I mean, will that have a big factor in the fight? Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's a strong kid, right? I might be a bigger guy than him, but definitely he's got the power in it. So I don't know how much. I'm not a massive lightweight. I don't think so. I don't know how much it'll affect. Fight. We both got to make 135, right? So.
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously you mentioned his power. He's a terrific hitter. How do you sort of avoid getting on the end of some of his big shots on Friday night?
Just got to be sharp and turned on. The thing is, he really likes guys to sit in front of him, so you got to keep him off balance a little bit, and a little bit of lateral movement. Like guys have done really, really well with him in parts, but a lot of them exert too much energy where he kind of catches up with them in the long haul, right? I thought Gavin Gwynn did a good job too, and he would close distance so that he couldn't punch sometimes. You got to kind of mix it up though, a little bit of lateral movement and a little bit of just taking away space.
So you've got to stay on your toes in and box clever against them?
Definitely, yeah. At points, there's going to be points in the fight too where you definitely need to get the guy's respect, where he doesn't need to just keep coming in. You know what I mean? You got to get that respect there. So that's plan is early to not get caught up in anything crazy, and then pick my shot so that he can slow down as the fight goes on.
But can I just ask finally? Obviously you've got an Irish name. What are your Irish roots?
Yeah, my grandfather was from his grandfather was from Ireland. We don't really know a whole lot about where we're from or nothing. My grandfather's dad died when he was very young, and there's not really a whole lot. We've tried to look into it before, but not a whole lot of knowledge about it.
Mm-hmm. But it's always obviously something you've been aware of, like throughout your life.
Yeah, and I had a chance to travel down to Cavan when I was younger, and I got to train there for a bit, and I got a lot of friends there and stuff. So I feel like I have a lot of connections over there that I'm friends with and stuff now. But I wouldn't know where my family and all that would.
But family, I mean, you mentioned Cavan. Whereabouts in Cavan? Who did you train with? I
trained with Brian McEwen, Cavan Boxing Club.
All right. And how come you picked Cavan? Like,
I fought John Joe Nevin as an amateur, and I really shouldn't have been in the ring with him. I only had maybe 20 amateur fights, and but my coach had asked me if I wanted to go on a boxing trip, and he's like, there's just one issue, you got to fight this kid. He's just coming off the Olympics. And I just kind of like, fuck it, man, let's go. And I think the coach took a liking to that, and just that I had some balls, and no one, I guess, in the area would really fight him at the time. So the coach said, come on down to Cavan, we'll make you a champion, blah, blah, blah. And, I had a really good time there, and the training was way different from home, and it was a really good experience for me.
Brilliant. I'm about ready to go. Thanks very much. Best of luck for Friday night, Josh.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Andy. You can go to Brian from Boxing Social, please.
Hey, Josh, how are you?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you for asking. I just was hoping we'd get a little bit more background on yourself for the UK fans, and you came over here. I was just hoping you could tell us a bit about how you actually got into the boxing in the first place. What first took you down to that gym?
To boxing gym. Well, I was a bit of a scrappy kid anyways. I was getting in fights a lot as a little kid, and I was always pretty good at sports. And, but I just found as I was getting older, I was one of these little dweebs, and basketball was my sport, basketball and hockey, but I was a really small kid. So it was hard to compete with some of the guys who were a lot bigger. I wanted to do a sport that was, weight-based or size-based, and went into the boxing gym. There were a few kids from my hockey team that were boxers, and they were doing well, and I went and I trained with their dad, and then next thing you know, I just stuck with it.
You mentioned that you tried other sports. How quickly did boxing go from becoming a hobby and something you were trying out with your other friends around to this could be a career choice for yourself?
Yeah, it was weird. I remember my first boxing match, I was actually just fighting a kid from school who was one of my buddies. We set up a little tournament in his backyard, and I was the smallest kid there, and I'd won the tournament. And I was just thinking in my head, like, I could do this. I could do this all right. So, I remember my first time in the gym. Like, I already had ambitions as a young kid to turn pro, I think before I even – so that's what you see on TV, right? It was never to go to the Olympics or anything. It was always to turn pro. Yeah, that's it, really.
I believe this is your first time fighting outside of Canada as a professional. I was just wondering if you could tell us a bit how you're finding the whole bubble experience being over in the UK as well.
I kind of like it, to be honest. I think it's a lot easier. The food here is amazing. They're taking really good care of us, and I just find for back home, there's a lot of stuff in terms of selling tickets and running around with your head cut off to push tickets and whatnot. So it's a little bit less stressful. You can just kind of focus on the fight, do your training, and focus on making weight, and that's it.
How big an incentive is it for you that this is a WBA eliminator, and what has the reception been like back home as well when this fight got announced?
Back home, it's been huge. There's not many big fights going on in general. Right? There's no fights going on back home in general. So to get this fight, and it's obviously the biggest opportunity I've had in my career. It's been massive, and I've got so much. Where I'm from is not a big boxing scene, so I'm really surprised by the amount of how much support and stuff I've been getting from people.
All right, Josh, I'll pass you on to the other guys. Thank you for your time and good luck.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, man.
Thanks, Ryan. If anyone else has any questions for Josh, just drop me a message or raise the hand icon. I've seen the Boxing Source has a question there, so if you want to pass over.
All right. Given that you were talking about the past fights that Tennyson has had, have you been able to check out the Tevin Farmer fight and kind of like see something in that you would want to take notes on?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched the Tevin Farmer fight, and obviously me and Tevin Farmer are quite different. He's quite short, southpaw, very different styles. Tevin Farmer would be a nightmare to fight, style-wise. You know what I mean? So I think that was a really bad matchup just for James in general, where it's a different fight entirely. But there's things you see, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot I can take away from all of his fights, and it's just always different, the guy in front of you. So it'll be. There's a lot of things I see from the outside that could look different when you're in there. And there's a lot of things he sees from the outside that might look different to him when he's in there. So it's just kind of see how it plays out when we're in there.
Now, given that you were, fighting around the 140-pound division, how comfortable do you feel right now coming into this particular fight?
The other part about that is that in Ontario, we have same-day weigh-ins. So if I'm fighting for a title, I'd get to weigh in the day before, but I'd still have a same day weigh-in. So, a lot of the times I was fighting heavier because we don't have day before. I feel quite comfortable. This is probably the best, easiest I've made weight in a really long time. And I like the fact that I'm not going to have that same day weigh-in. So I'll just be able to, fully hydrate at night, good meals all day. It'll be nice.
Thank you very much, Josh.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for the question. Just a reminder, if there's any more questions for Josh, if you just send me a message or raise the hand icon. If there's no more questions, we'll let Josh leave and we'll bring in James Tennyson next. Josh, I think that's everything for now. So thank you very much for joining. We'll see you in the book later this week.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Take care.
Okay, we're just going to bring in James Tennyson now. So if you just bear with us one moment. Okay, James is just joining us now. David, did you want to jump in first once he's connected?
Yeah, sure.
Great.
Good to go there, yep.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep. All right, James, how you doing, man?
Not too bad, mate. How's it going?
Sound fine. Tipping away.
How did the hurling go the other day?
Won well, so we've got a final to look forward to in a couple of weeks now. So
Happy days, can't complain.
That's it, keep us moving a bit, like. But
Yeah.
After yourself, I suppose this fight was only announced really like a week or so ago, but you've clearly been in training for quite some time from the British title fight. So how's it been moving into this camp from the last one?
Do you know what? It hasn't been too bad, to be honest. After the last fight, I think for the first time in a long time, I had a bit of a break, enjoyed myself, a few nights out, and by the time I came to training, I was ready to get back in the camp. I was looking forward to get back in the training and the swing of things. And Mark said that there's a good chance you're going to be out before Christmas, so more or less just get the head down and start putting the work in. So that's what we did.
Absolutely. Obviously, British title win the last time. You're never going to be hanging around British level. I mean, your ambitions are much greater than that. So this is a big step forward.
Absolutely, big step forward for me. World title eliminator. It's a fight that can open up some big doors and big opportunities for me next year. So I'm really excited for this one.
Absolutely. I saw a press release come out last week, and it was a bit of a different side to you, a bit that you were kind of saying that you were fed up hearing about Americans talking and this, that, the other, and it's maybe your time that you're kind of maybe calling people out a bit, which is something we've never really seen before.
Do you know what? I was saying I'm sick of hearing names is a strong statement, but I know that I can mix it with them guys. I just want my opportunity to be in there with the top lightweights and show what I can do. And sometimes being outspoken, it's not really me, but sometimes you just have to give a few comments here and there to get the point across. I know finally once my opportunity comes, I'll be able to mix it with them guys. Very confident. So yeah, I just sort of had to just put the comment out there a bit just to get the word across.
Absolutely. What kind of performance are you expecting on Friday night in any case? Like, you know much about Josh, or have you watched much from the past?
I haven't watched too much of him, no. You know, Tony and Mark, they've done their homework on him. Tony's happy with how training went and how sparring went from what he's seen with us after watching Josh O'Reilly's previous fight. So we're looking forward to it. You know, we're very confident of getting the win here on Friday.
Grand stuff, James. Let the other lads jump in here. Thanks a million. All the best.
Cheers, bro. Thank you, man.
No problem.
Thanks, David. Nicky, did you want to jump in with any questions?
Hey, James. Nicky Fullerton. How are you, mate?
Nicky, how's it going, man?
Good, mate. Good, mate. I wish it was the same weight as yourself, but sadly not. Here, just you fought against Tevin Farmer in Boston. I was there, and you didn't work out that night, but you want to get back to that level again, won't you?
Absolutely. You know, fighting at that level in the sport, you know, that's where I want to be. That's what me and Schwartz have been pushing for. You know, I'm working very hard to put myself in that position again.
And what do you know about the guy you're facing on Friday night?
He's I think he's 16-0. He holds 2 titles, the IBF Intercontinental and the NABA. It's a form of a WBA title, I think. So, you know, he's very confident and he's clearly here to win. You know, it's this big opportunity. So, you know, it's not a fight they can take lightly, especially, you know, with the rewards that are at the end of it. So, you know, I'm ready.
You said the rewards there. You've got the wee sub now, obviously. You must have been highly motivated for Friday night.
Absolutely, like, you know, at the minute, you know, very highly motivated. You know, I haven't stopped thinking about a world title. You know, that's what's always been on my mind. You know, it's all I've been thinking about this camp. So very motivated. You know, I've been putting the work in, and you know, I'm really looking forward to it.
Just fairly lightweight seems to suit you.
Absolutely. You know, I'm doing lightweight, no problem. You know, I'm feeling fit, strong, healthy at the weight. You know, it makes a big difference. Making a heck of a big difference from previous when I was down on weight. So it's making a big difference, and you know, it's going good so far.
James, good luck on Friday night, mate.
Thank you very much, Nicky.
Thanks, Nicky. Andy Waters, any questions, mate? I think he might be frozen by the looks of that. If we pass over to Thomas Kane next, then please.
Hi, James. James, sorry, do you mind just flicking your phone lengthwise rather than, if possible?
How's that?
I'm almost there. Just bring it. There you go. It's just so it's long way. It's just for our recording. Sorry to be a pain.
How's that?
Yeah, perfect. Look, I won't keep you long, James. A lot of people have found lockdown frustrating, and maybe their careers have stalled. Why do you think it's clicked for you and you've taken all of the opportunities available to you?
Do you know what? I think the team that I have behind me, you know, they've been putting in immense work to keep me out, keep me busy through all these lockdowns and stuff. So for me, my lockdowns have been a heck of a lot better than other people's. You know, I've been fighting, I've been training, you know, it's kept me busy. You know, my career's still on the rise, even though the majority of people's careers are all came to standstill. So I'm very happy with how things are going with what's going on.
How big a confidence boost was it for you when you heard this was going to be a world title limiter?
Oh, big. You know, it was massive. You know, it's a stage in boxing. You know, I've been wanting to get back at. I've been working myself hard to get myself in the position to be fighting here again. And you know, my team, they've done a great job of getting me this opportunity again.
Mark Dunlop has been talking about you for a number of years about the qualities you have. Eddie Hearn's one of the biggest names in boxing. He's now saying that you're one of the biggest punchers in boxing. How does that make you feel whenever you're going into a ring, knowing that somebody who can make a lot of things happen in the sport is talking about you in that way?
It's great, you know. It's got confidence through the roof. You know, a guy with, like, you look at the fleet of fighters that Eddie Hearn's got, world champions. You know, and when he speaks that highly of me, you know, it just shows him doing something right and things are going good.
What do you know about this opponent?
He's undefeated. He's very confident from what I'm hearing. He holds 2 titles. He's ranked above me in the WBA rankings. So, you know, it's a fight that I can't take lightly. You know, the opportunities that lie ahead for me after this win are huge. So, you know, it's a must win. You know, I have to go in and get the job done on Friday night.
Do you have to get that mix right between wanting to get the job done but also put on a show and keep up this reputation of yours?
For me, you know, it's just about winning. You know, I'll do what I have to do to win, whether I'm looking good or whether doesn't look good. Just winning is what's important to me at the minute.
The next step for you could be a huge one in a division which has so many big names in it. How much are you excited about the prospect of that in 2021 and a huge world title shot against a massive name?
Very, very excited. It's what I'm in the sport for. This is the level I want to be fighting at. I'm working towards bringing big fights back to Belfast. Belfast been deprived of big nights of boxing for a while now. So, looking forward to getting in on Friday, getting the win, and it could set me up for some huge nights in the future.
How much do you want to headline in your home city?
Oh, massive! It's a dream come true. That's what every fighter in Belfast. They want to be tapping the bills in your home city. And, for me, it's a big goal of mine. And it's one that I'm getting closer to. I'm a good few steps ahead now with making it happen.
And just finally, for me, the weight moving up. How beneficial has it been? Not just physically, but also mentally in fight week, knowing that you can go in there so much stronger.
It's beneficial to me, in every way, shape, or form. I've never felt this great. Doing the weight is easy, whenever you're cutting them last pounds, it's like a cloud over your head. So, I'm getting into fight week, with a clear head, still fit, healthy, still able to put a good shift in the gym. Whereas before, I'd be sort of, I wouldn't have had enough in the tank.
Brilliant. Here, thanks very much, James. Appreciate it. Good luck on Friday.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks, Thomas. So we go to Andy Waters. I think you've got your hand raised.
James, how's things?
Andy, how's it going? Is my camera all right here, or do you need me to switch it around?
No, you're looking good. Good. James, Thomas just touched on it there. Obviously, this is an eliminator. So you're talking Gervonta Davis, Lopez, the guys that are right at the top of the tree in the WBA. You're looking ahead. How much are you looking forward to those fights, getting a chance to get in with those boys?
They're the sort of fights. Thinking about them fights, it gets me excited. I do honestly believe I've got what it takes to mix it with guys. I just need an opportunity to be able to show it. And with a win here on Friday night, it's going to bring me a good few steps closer to being able to get in and mix it with them kind of guys.
And you mentioned about headlining in Belfast. Obviously, you have headlines, at the Europa or smaller hall shows. That's one thing that's missing from your career up to this point, isn't it? Like that massive bill in the SSE or something. Getting one of those guys over, on a fight night like that would be like the crown and glory in some ways, isn't it? Up to now.
Absolutely, it would be amazing. I fought on the undercard of Ryan Burnett's world title show or world title fight, sorry, and whenever I was coming out, the stadium wasn't fully filled, but there was good crowding and the noise was unbelievable. It blew my mind, and I just said that night, I want to be filling this place out soon. I want to bring a world title back here, and that's what I'm working towards doing.
But would you just count up your belts earlier on? 9 is it so far? You've won.
I think there's
from BUI up to
from the Celtic title right through. I think you could be right. Yeah, I think there's 9. Yeah,
I'm sure you'd swap them all for that world title belt, would you?
Give me that world title fight any day. Absolutely.
Brilliant. Well, here, listen. Hope you get it. Best of luck for Friday night. Thank you.
Cheers, bud.
Thanks, Andy. Go to Ron Lewis from Boxing Scene next.
Hi, James. A few years ago, when you came up to London and fought Ryan Walsh, people were willing to sort of write you off after that. What did you learn from that, and what have you also learned from the Farmer fight that's turned you into a better fighter, sort of progressively?
Listen, two of them fighters, both Ryan and Kevin Farmer, two real quality fighters. Can't take nothing away from them and getting the win. For me, at the time I was having weight problems and stuff, which affected me. The Ryan Walsh fight, it was pretty. You could say I was young as well. It was a few years ago, and a heck of a lot more experience. And I've been in with the fighters I've been in with now. They've helped me gain vital experience in the sport, and I'm improving all the time.
Excellent. Thanks, James. Take care, mate.
Cheers, Ron.
Thanks, Ron. Here we pass to James Lupton from Pro Boxing Fans next, please.
All right, James, how you doing?
How's it going, man?
All very good, thank you. Obviously, taking on Josh O'Reilly, a unknown quantity, 16-0, but he's never fought outside of Canada. A lot of people look at his box rec and say, this is an easy fight for yourself here. But how much of a risk is this that you're taking?
How much of a, what is it, sorry?
How much of a risk are you taking by not knowing what he can bring to the table?
I wouldn't look at it as a risk. For me, it's a big opportunity for me. The rewards that it's the NDS fight, I'm looking at it as it's a big opportunity for me. I'm not taking him as an easy or light opponent. He's undefeated. He seems very confident. So with the rewards, it's at the NDS for me. It'd be foolish to take this fight lightly. I've prepared myself very hard, and just looking forward to getting in there and getting the show on the road. We're very confident, me and my team.
And just last one from me. The recurring theme throughout this interview has been a world title shot. You want your world title. Obviously, the Tevin Farmer fight, you came short for a world title. Does that loss play on your mind at all?
No, not at all. No, like I say, I had problems doing the weight and stuff at the time. So, I've put that loss behind me. I'm looking to the future. I'm looking to rebuild myself, in world title fight and in world boxing, sorry. I'm looking to put myself back up on the world stage and in the mix for world titles. So I've put that fight behind me, and I'm just looking forward to the future now.
You say you had issues with the weight there. Obviously, you've moved up since then. But was it a wake-up call? Did that give you a bit of a reality check in terms of making weight for the future fights?
Absolutely. My trainer Tony actually said in the previous interview about he actually asked me to move up weight before the fight, but at the time, I felt I could have done it okay. The previous fight had done okay and we came through okay, but it was just one fight too many to weight. So I think I'll listen to my trainer in the future when it comes to doing weight.
Absolutely. Good luck. Thanks, mate.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, James. We go to the boxing source next. He's got a question.
What's going on? Seeing as that you've been here at the lightweight division, 5 fights, 5 KOs, how does that attribute to your comfortability at that particular weight? As you mentioned before, you had to cut down to make 130, for those fights beforehand. But given, that's going on right now, how are you comfortable being at 135?
Being comfortable, doing the weight. For instance, before, whenever I was doing featherweight, super featherweight, it was just more in terms of taking them last few pounds off. They were killing my performance. Throughout camp, when I had the weight on me, I was performing, I was sparring out of my skin. Things were going good, and then when it came to fight week, and you had to take that extra bit of weight off, it was ruining me, and it was draining me. So that's what was affecting my boxing on the night.
Now, given this particular fight here, and you've had those 5 KOs, do you think that your power will be able to be a factor in this fight?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It's came through time and time again. And from the move up the lightweight, I've been feeling sharper, stronger, and my performance has shown from my previous 5 fights. Yeah.
Thank you, and good luck on Friday.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. If we go to Gary next, please. If you just take yourself off mute, Gary. There we go. Yep, Gary Newman, yep. No questions, no? Okay, in that case, I think we might be done there, James. So thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it as always, and we'll see you in the bubble later this week.
No problem, man. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Take care, mate.
Bye.
Okay, so next up we should have Martin Murray. We're just chasing him up now to get him in the room. So if you just bear with us, we'll get him in shortly, hopefully. So Martin's just joining now. So just a quick reminder, if anyone's got a question, if you just pop your camera on and drop me a message, we'll get through everyone. So I think we'll start with Gary Newman, who I can see there in the top left-hand corner. He's just joining now.
Martin.
We're just waiting for him to join.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
All right. He's just joining in a moment, so I'll let you know when. Here we go. There we go. Thank you very much for joining us, Martin.
Hey, 1 minute, mate. I'm just
no problem.
Got to knock on the door. 1 minute. Yes. Thank you. Cheers, mate. That's me. Hey, mate. Have I got to see you, or does it not matter?
We can see you, so to be honest, mate, it doesn't really matter too much.
All right, mate. No worries.
All right, we'll start with Gary Newman, please.
Good afternoon, Martin. Sometime since we've spoken, so I'd like to wish you good luck on Saturday, but it looks a really difficult task for you. What's your view?
Difficult fights, like all my big fights. Billy Joe offers me something different, kind of similar to what I experienced with Martinez, but obviously he's a bit younger, a bit slicker. I'm a bit older, so it's going to be a difficult fight. You know, it's a fight to train for, so I'm ready for it. But I'm expecting a hard fight, but I'm confident. It's you know, I think everything happens for a reason, and you know, all the little setbacks I've had in the past have been building to this, and yeah, I'm ready for it, and I really do feel like it's my time.
When you're 38, he's 31. Do you think that age difference is important?
Well, no, to be honest, I don't. I mean, I look after myself, you know, in between fights. It's not like I go blowing up in weight. You know, I do a lot of training, eat healthy. So even though I'm 38, I'm a young 38, you know, I've not been in many hard fights. But having said that, neither is he, you know, but he don't really look after himself in between fights. So, you know, it's not like I'm thinking that, well, I'm 38 and too old, I'm past it. I know I'm not. I know what I've got in me, I know what's left, and I know that there's a big fight and definitely a big win in me.
It's your 6th attempt at a world title. You've gone the distance with quite a few of them. In fact, all of them apart from the draw. So you've lost 4 and drawn 1.
Yeah.
So you stay the distance, but he's 29-0, and it's his 7th world title fight. So you can understand people thinking that Billy Joe's going to win this.
Listen, it's a win-win for me. I mean, everybody's written me off, so you know it doesn't matter. There's no pressure on me. It's one of them where everybody's written me off. But I know that I rise to the big occasions, in the big fights. You know, you see the best of me, and fair enough. I've fought for, you know, this is my 5th world title fight, and he might have defended it 7 times, but he's not fought the opposition I've had, and even so, you know, if I'd have fought the people he'd have fought for world titles, I'd have been world champion, had many more defences. So it's, you know, I'm not looking into it like that. And like I keep saying, I know it's an hard fight, and I've trained for it, so I'm ready.
You're talking about Golovkin and Felix Stern and those sort of people that you fought.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, I've been in. No, I've done it the hard way. I've not got there. You know, Stern, Martinez, Abraham. Obviously, I think Golovkin was the only one where it won. It won in doubt. The other three are. So, you know, it's I've been in with better opposition. I've done it the hard way, but not got there. I should have been world champion, but I'm not. He's done it the easy way and got there. But it's like I said, everything happens for a reason, and you know what, I'm ready. I'm ready.
You've had a long career, 38 fights. 39 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw. Is this a make or break fight for you at your age now? Do you think, Martin? Is everything on the line here?
You know what? But it passed, like people have said that for me for so long, and I used to say, I go, you know what it is, and then I obviously had that little blip against end of 2018 against Indam, and it wasn't, you know, I had an off night, but I still thought I won the fight, especially at home, and you know, I was thinking, you know what, I'm done, and then last year I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it for the love of it, because I still feel like I've got something to give. And, you know, I had 2 fights. They weren't major fights. There was nothing I needed to
bring out my A game for. I was levels above, and you know what? I enjoyed him, and obviously this fight, this has been a shocking year for everyone, really. But this fight's come up, and you know what? I'm at the stage now where I'm doing it because I enjoy it, and I'll do it. There's no point me saying, "Oh, well, if I get beat, I'll retire," because to be honest, I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know, one breath I'll be like, "Oh well, you know, one more fight and then a done, win, lose or draw," and then in the next breath I'm thinking, you know, I could be fighting like Bernard Hopkins selling 50. Do you know what I mean? I really don't know. I'm just second it as it comes and just enjoying it.
You're the wrong weight for Mike Tyson, but let me just ask a few more questions here. What sort of fight can we expect with Styles here?
Well, I mean, like, you know, Billy Joe, he's, like I've said, he's very slick. He's a southpaw, which always makes it awkward, but I've never really struggled with southpaws, to be honest with you. I've not fought many, but I've always done okay. You know, Billy Joe likes everything his own way. So it's about me not being able to give it him, you know, give it to him where everything's you know, on his terms, and he finds a rhythm. I've got to take him out of his rhythm. I've got to be on him. I've got to be working him. I've got to take him out of his comfort zone. But you know, I know what I need to do. But you know, he'll be training for the exact same thing. So I know that he's ready. I know that he's fit, and you know, I think I'm just going to have to play it by ear with a fight. You know, sometimes you can try all training camp tactics. You know, we tried it in this training camp, and you know, we thought, right, we'll try it this way, and we thought it'd work, but we got in against southpaw sparring partners, and it didn't. And you know, which one of them I might get in there on Friday, and the things that I thought would work don't, and the things that I thought might not work. You know what I mean? It's just one of them. I'm experiencing intelligent enough now to you know, go out there and just do the job and deal with whatever I need to deal with.
Do you think the lack of crowds going to affect you? Do you thrive on crowds? Billy Joe says it doesn't make any difference to him.
Yeah, it don't make any difference to me. You know, for many years now, going back in day, you know, when we used to get Oliver's gym and we used to have a serious spar, there was literally no one in the gym, and what went on in the gym stayed in the gym. So, you know, I'm used to them type of environments, and I mean, yeah. To be honest with you, every time I've fought for a world title, the crowd's been against me. So, you know, I'm fighting for a world title, and there's no crowd for me or against me. It makes no odds. You know, I've just got a job. I know what I need to do, and I'm focused on that.
Does the Joe Joyce win over Dubois fill you with a bit extra confidence? I mean, he was 3-1 outsider, amazingly.
Yeah, you know, I was quite surprised that we was on about it in the gym the other day, and he was all having a chat about who he thinks going to win. And I was quite surprised when they said he was, you know, he wasn't the favourite, to be honest with you. So I wasn't surprised by the win, but no, to be honest with you, I don't look into anything as inspiration or motivation apart from what I need to do myself. You know, I've got my own things inside me that motivate and inspire me. So obviously, I'm not fazed by that. But well done to Joe Joyce anyway.
Final question from me. Billy Joe's been talking about training on sex. I don't want to be too personal, but are you in that category?
Training on what?
Sex, S-E-X.
You know, oh, sorry.
It's all right. I'll ask you that again. Billy Joe says he's been training with a lot of sex. I don't want to be too personal, but I mean, where do you stand in those stakes?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He must need the training. I don't know what that's about. Yeah, to be honest, I've not really got a comment for that. To be honest.
Good judge. Listen, good luck. It'd be interesting to see what happens, and I'm going to let somebody else ask questions. Thanks ever so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Nice talking to you. Cheers.
Thanks.
Harry, if we go to Luke Reddy from the BBC next, please.
Hi Martin, how you doing?
Hey mate, you all right?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. I'm in sunny St Helens.
Hey, whereabouts?
Near the Linkway. It's raining. Anyway, we won't bore everyone with that. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about your age, but Billy Joe is now past 30, and I mean, looking at his record, he's only had 2 fights in virtually 2 years. Do you think people overlook like his potential? You know, the rustiness, or maybe losing the sharp edges that he might have had a few years ago.
No, to be honest with you, I can't really look into Billy Joe's age and think about like that when I'm years in front of him. Do you know what I mean? So I can't really look at him like that. But I know he's been inactive. He's not fought. I think I've fought more, been in more fights in the past 3 years. But yeah, I mean, whether the inactivity is going to play a part, I'm not really looking into that. I look at him, his career defining performance for me was when he fought Lemieux. He obviously trained hard for that. He knew he was up for an hard fight, and he trained well for it, and you got the best out of him. And I think that's what he's done for this. He's trained hard. He knows that he's going to have to bring his A game because I'll be bringing mine. But I'm not Lemieux. Lemieux was a one-trick pony really, with just punch power. Can't really box, quite flat-footed, extreme power like, but loading up and looking for it. And Billy Joe shining that fight. So like I said, I'm not Lemieux. I'm more versatile. I've got more to my game. So. Even though we trained hard and got ready and put in a performance like that for that fight, he's not going to do it in this fight. So yeah, I mean, I'm expecting him at his best, though, and it's how I train for him.
We interviewed Joe Joyce earlier on, and he used a line where he said, he almost like, forget about all the other fights. I just want a world title. I just want a world title. And he was emphatic, and you could see how much it meant to him.
Yeah.
Obviously, the close calls you've had. Can you explain to us, like, if you had to stop tomorrow, would you forever wrestle with it? Does it like?
No.
No.
No, it doesn't. I've never been one to dwell on things, especially then. In hindsight, I was set up to fail. I think the only fair one really was I said fair. My toughest fight was Golovkin. I fought him in his prime in February 2015, and he was flying then. But you look at Martinez. I think it was the 20th anniversary of the Falklands War in Buenos Aires. I fought him there. Sturm, Abraham in Germany, both of them. It's what did you ask me now? I forgot.
Will you forever wrestle? I mean, you've had a tough round there. The way it's incredible when you look back.
I've never really dwelled on them. I've never really dwelled on the fight. They was. But I've always believed I'll get there. So every failure. Don't get me wrong. It was hard. I think Abraham was a tough one for me, which was my last one in 2015. Because it took me a while from that. It was an hard one for me, that really, because I kind of thought, well, what, will I get another chance? And I thought I'd shaded it, but having said that, I left it too close to call in Germany. We'll look back now, and that's what I think of that fight. But I was obsessed. I had an unhealthy obsession with winning a world title, and no one's ever won a world title from St Helens. I obviously want to be world champion. I want to be world champion for myself. I want to be world champion for Oliver. I want to do it for my family and for St Helens. Like I said, they'd never been a world champion from St Helens. So I was focused on that, and I look back now. I train a lot smarter now. and obviously got to do with age. But I look back and I realise how much of an unhealthy obsession I had with winning a world title. So going back to that, what you said with George Joyce, I can really relate to it. Really relate to it. But now, for me, I'm just a lot more relaxed about the whole situation. I've been there before. I've done it. But like I said, I've always believed in myself. No one's ever done it in four times. I think it was Frank Bruno, George Groves in 4. No one's ever done it in 5. And I just really feel that, picking myself up off the couch sometimes when I've just wanted, gone in my car and I just wanted to get to the gym because I knew when I got to the gym I'd be all right. But I was struggling getting there. I know that it's been for a reason, and on Friday I'm going to prove that. I really do feel like it's my time, and I can't wait for it.
Just one last one from me, if Dan doesn't mind. I was at the press conference. I think it was the first time you were meant to fight Billy Joe, and you came out with a really good, kind of emotive answer where you said how after boxing you had no plan, you didn't know what you were going to do, and you really did sound like the sportsman who was contemplating all the things that come with change, at the end of a career. I just wondered where you are now in that journey, because it's always interesting when a sportsman goes into almost real life,
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it's always been the same. I've had an unhealthy obsession with winning the world title and training. I used to train religiously and still do, but my main focus has always been on my family, always my family. And I've always known that after boxing, they're always going to be there. So I live my life for my family. And regarding what I'm going to do when I retire, whenever that may be, again, I've not really put much thought into it, to be honest with you. I'm not really stressing about trying to plan something. I'm just taking each day as it comes. I've got my family there, and I've got, fair enough, I might not have everything I want, but I've got everything I need, and I think that's what's important. You know what I mean? Just knowing and appreciating, and just having gratitude for what I've got, which I have.
Thank you, Martin. Good luck on Friday.
Cheers, pal. Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. If we go to Andy from Boxing Social.
Hi, Martin. How you doing?
Hey, mate. You all right?
I'm all good. We did an interview. It was about 2 or 3 months into lockdown, and we did it over Zoom. And you spoke about what you still wanted. You spoke about what you still wanted to achieve in the sport, and you said at the time you was looking at, you'd like to fight for a European title, and you'd like to fight in America once more. Given the circumstances, could you ever imagine that it would have ended up being another chance to fight Billy Joe after the 2 previous cancellations, behind closed doors, staying in the same hotel as him for a week, not being able to go outside? Would you ever imagine you would have actually felt like this?
Mate, you know what? It's mad. It's mad. I mean, starting this year, I started 2020 training flat out because I was told they had a fight in America. Like we said about the European title, and then all this happened, and a couple of months ago, I remember just thinking, you know what, it's time now. It's kind of ruined a lot of people's lives, this COVID, and I thought, it's ruined my career, and I really just thought that, I might end up calling it a day because of it. Because I was looking, when's boxing going to start? It's going to be 2021. I'll be a year or 2 older. And I just thought my career, it couldn't finish my career. But like I said in that earlier question, then I've always believed in myself. There's always been hope there, and it's one of them where. I thought that it was going to finish my career, and it's going to end up making it. And I truly believe that. I truly believe everything happens for a reason. And it'd be nice to finish the year on a high, on a positive, and obviously my career. You know what I mean? I've worked so hard for a world title. There's been I've been in some lonely places at times, but like I've just said, I've always believed, and yeah, I'd have never have thought it, but here we are.
How do you find kind of the circumstances of being in the same hotel as Billy Joe for the entire week? We know he's a character. I imagine he'll be trying to get up to one or two various things, you know, a funny person at that. How do you feel about it?
Mate, it makes no odds to me. You could be sharing a bunk bed with me. Doesn't matter, to be honest with you, mate. Don't look into too much like that. Yeah, you know, we're gonna weigh in Thursday and fight on Friday. You know, I've got nothing against him before. I'll have nothing against him after. It's just one of them things, just business.
Two more questions from me, Martin. You mentioned you don't have anything against him, but is there any sense of frustration because of the fact that the fight had been slated twice before and been cancelled? Is there any frustration that you feel going into Friday night?
Obviously, there was at the time, but you know, it's one of them. It's everything happens for a reason. And you know, I'm over it. You know, I was pissed off at the time. I was frustrated, obviously, because I'd gone through 2 training camps, time away from my family, and to be let down, you know, on the second time, you know, it was hard, and obviously I was frustrated, but you know, as quick as it come, it went. I don't hold out against anybody. So going into Friday, you know, there won't be really any frustrations around. I'm just happy. I'm just happy that we're here and it's finally happening. So I'm looking forward to it and I'm ready.
Final thing from me, Martin. I spoke to Jamie, who's about a month ago, and he said you'd actually sent him a message to send around to anybody who was going to ask to do an interview because you just wanted to focus on camp. You didn't want to speak to anyone. You just wanted to be staying in the zone.
Yeah.
Notice any difference in your own mentality going into Friday night with kind of that type of thing in mind, or is this just kind of how you've always looked at things?
No, it's not how I've always looked at things, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, there's yeah, there's an example, yeah, and for the reason why I did it and why I'm happy that I decided to do that. I was in the gym the other last week before, a couple of weeks ago anyway, and there was a well-known boxing reporter who was in the gym, and bear in mind, I'd seen him many times over the past year in the gym, but he had nothing to speak to me about because I didn't have a big fight. And he asked me would I do an interview, and I've just been knocking people back. And I went, yeah, I'll talk to you, mate. I said, but I don't want to talk about the fight. And he said, well, what we're going to talk about then? And I said, you can ask me anything. He went, well, I've got no to ask you. And you know what? It made me, I was so happy with the decision I made because that just hit the nail on the head. Do you know what I mean? Just, listen, boxing's boxing, and I understand. I understand the score, but I was just at the stage where, for this camp, I've wanted focus on training, which I've always done anyway. But I'd spoke about the Billy Joe fight for years previously, but no one's been involved with me. Obviously, I spoke to you over lockdown, but no one's really been messaging me, asking me for interviews, and then all of a sudden they do, and I just think, you know, sometimes you just think, no, I've done it so many times where I've done it just to please people, and I just think I'm just going to please myself. So I've just been knocking them back, and that's the way it is.
No, that's fair enough, Martin. But does that mean if I had got in touch, you would have done something with me?
If what?
If I'd have got in touch, would you have done something with me?
Well, no, because listen, I sent that message, Jamie, and I went, listen, Jay, just send that to anyone really. Just send it to anybody. So it was nothing personal, and it wasn't. But I just wanted to do it for myself as well as that little point you just said then. So yeah,
that's fair enough. And
nothing personal, mate. It's a pleasure talking to you now.
Martin, listen, best of luck for Friday night, and I will speak to you soon.
All right, nice one, mate. Take it easy. Cheers, mate. Ta-ra.
Thanks, Andy. Go to Ron Lewis next, please.
Hi, Martin. You doing well? You're looking well. Like in the beard. With after the Ndam fight, the Ndam fight kind of felt like, you know, almost it'll be the end.
Yeah.
Was it close to being the end? And what was it that made you? What was it made you? Yeah, because it was just before Christmas as well, so you must have gone away, had Christmas on the back of the defeat.
You know what, Ron? It was. It's like, because for that fight, that day, I'd booked to go on a cruise in Asia 18 months before, and it turned out that the day I was fighting in Dam was the day I was meant to be going on the cruise. So anyway, cut a long story short, it was 22nd of December. Cut a long story short, me missus or my family, they all went over to Asia, flew to Hong Kong, and then I couldn't go. I had to fight. Obviously, I had an off night, fair enough, but I still thought I won the fight, especially at home. And then, you know, I got a flight the next day. I had to go to, I ended up in Hanoi, which was Vietnam. And, you know, I only seen my kids and my wife and my family on Christmas Day. And then, you know, I ended up getting a water infection on New Year's Eve. I was bad. I was in the hospital on the boat. And, you know, I just thought, you know what, I graft and I do everything. You know, I don't cut corners, I never have. You know, and you know, you say you only get out what you put in. And then I thought, you know what, it's not always true that. You know, sometimes you don't get out what you put in. And I just thought, you know what, I've had enough. I don't deserve, you know, things like this happening to me. And I come back, and then I've not seen Jamie since the fight. And, you know, Jamie come round ours, and we just sat down, we had a brew, we had a chat, and it was like, what are we going to do? And I just said, Jay, I don't know. So anyway, I started personal training, and by personal training, I got the love of it back. You know, I started kept trying to teach people, kind of give me the love for boxing again. And so I went to the gym, and then I thought, we'll just take a fight at a time. And a fight come up, and then another, and then I thought, me and Jay were talking, and Nigel was like, you know what, there's a big fight in me here. And we still, you know, we're still delivering in the gym. We thought, yeah, we can still do this. So obviously we've just been working, and this year's, like I said, it's been one of them years. But yeah, I'd never have thought that I was here, but I've always believed, and there I am.
I mean, you got a bad habit of booking holidays, which end up clashing with fights. That was your wedding as well, wasn't it?
That's what it is. Honestly, that's what my missus said to me. She went, you need to stop booking holidays. Or when I've not got a fight, you like booking holidays, so then we can fight. Yeah, just don't book him, mate. But everything happens for a reason, doesn't it?
Obviously, you planned for Billy Joe twice before. Was there always something in him you saw you could beat?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there is. And like I've said, I know I'm in for an hard fight, but he's never fought anybody. I don't think. You know, he's never fought anybody like me. He's not fought the opposition who I've fought. And I've always felt I could beat him, yeah, of course. But, you know, in the same breath, it's an hard fight, and, you know, I like challenges. I've always wanted to test myself against the best, and he's one of the best, and he's world champion. So it's, you know, it's going to be an hard fight, but I'm ready for it, and I do feel I can win. I know I can win. I know I can.
Have you ever turned down a fight? Obviously, you went to Germany twice. You went to, you were going to go to America. You took on in Monaco. You went to Argentina. You know, have you ever said no? I don't fancy that.
Never. Well, you know, I've never done that. But you know, this is why fighters out there, they need good trainers. They need good managers, because obviously they're the ones who turn this fight down or turn that fight down or whatever. But you know, you offered me anybody with the right money, I'd fight him. It's as simple as that.
Excellent. Take care, Mike. Speak to you soon.
Look after yourself, mate.
Okay, I think that's it for now. Thank you very much for your time, Martin. We'll let you go off. We'll see you in the bubble later this week.
Thanks, Dan. Take care, pal. Cheers, mate.
Take care.
Mate.
So we've got Zach Parker next. We'll just get him in now. Apologies to anyone who didn't get to ask a question there. We're running slightly behind now, so we'll just bring in Zach. Hi, Zach.
How are you? All right, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you very much for joining us, and thanks for your patience there. We just ran slightly over.
Yeah, it's fine.
So we'll just wait for the first couple of questions to come through, and then we'll pass through.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Andy from Boxing Social first.
Yeah. No.
We might have just lost him there. Let me see if we can get him back in. Perfect timing. There we go. He's just rejoining now. When he gets back in, Andy, just crack on, mate.
Sorry, I disconnected there somehow.
That's all right, mate.
Yeah.
How you doing, Zach? You okay?
How are you? All right?
Yeah, I'm all good. How are you finding life in the bubble? I know you've only just gotten there to quarantine, but
Yeah, it's all right. I've just been chilling out in my room, really. I had a little bit of food. But yeah, just waiting to get my COVID tests back, and then hopefully I'll get out of this room.
talking about that experience, is that kind of, is it playing in the back of your mind waiting for your test, even though you may feel fine and perfectly healthy? Does it still play in your mind at all?
Yeah. Obviously, like you obviously want to box. I've been training that hard and want to box on Friday night, and so yeah, it's playing on my mind a little bit, but hopefully it'll all be all right and be able to box on Friday.
Zach, talk to me about your opponent, Cesar Nunez. What do you know about him, and what should everybody be expecting to see from him?
No, he's a tough opponent. I think he's won like 17, lost 2. He's only lost to a couple of good opponents. One's challenged for a world title, and the other one's like 15-0. But yeah, it should be a good hard fight. He'll just keep coming forward, I reckon. But he won't be able to come forward that long once I start hitting him with hard shots. So yeah, should be a good fight to watch.
Given your status with the WBO being up there as the number 1, do you feel the pressure to perform and to kind of make a statement, knowing he is on the undercard of the current WBO champion in Billy Joe Saunders?
Yeah. Obviously, I always want to perform my best and give the fans the fans want knockouts all the time. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to give to the fans. But yeah, I always put pressure on myself to perform the best I can, and hopefully perform good on Friday night.
I know you won't want to look beyond Friday night, but have you thought about kind of when you may get your chance to have a go for, if not the WBO title, then certainly another version of the world title?
Yeah, hopefully next year, like maybe summer next year, I want to go for at least one of the world titles. But obviously, I can't look past Cesar Nunez on Friday night. But yeah, hopefully that's the way I'm looking to go. Either the WBO with Billy Joe Saunders, but if any of the other titles come up, I know WBC is vacant at the minute. I'd box for any of them. That's what you're in box for, to be a world champion, and hopefully that'll get made next year.
Zach, boxing behind closed doors, what are your thoughts on it, and how do you feel about it? Do you feel it would make any difference to you on Friday?
No, not too much difference. I boxed on the smaller. I've come from like the bottom where the smaller shows only had like a couple hundred people. So yeah, it wouldn't make too much difference. I've boxed amateur with no crowds there. Really no crowds there. But like, yeah, I think I would perform as like I do when there's crowds there or not.
I know you'll be keeping a close eye on that main event. What are your thoughts on it between Billy Joe and Martin Murray?
Yeah, it should be a good fight. I think it's like last saloon for Murray. So we'll have to see what version comes out. He comes out with, but yeah, I reckon it'll be a good fight. But predicting Billy Joe will win it, maybe on points.
Zach, that's the last question from me. So best of luck on Friday. I'll speak to you soon, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Andy. We go to Jonathan.
Hey Zach, Jonathan here, Pro Boxing Fans. You right?
How are you, right, mate?
Yeah, all good. What's your mindset like heading into this fight, considering that position you've got with the WBO as mandatory? How are you getting motivated for this fight?
Yeah, obviously, I've always got one eye on like the world titles. Obviously, I'm number 1 in WBO, and that's what I want. But I have to keep focused. I have to keep my eyes on prize, because this is like a world title chance for that Cesar Nunes. If he wins, he could get up there. So I've got to keep my feet on the ground and just focus on Friday night.
Last out in March, obviously on the last UK show before lockdown. How do you sum up that performance, getting that stoppage at the end?
I was quite lucky to get out just before it was literally just kicking off COVID and all this was. I was lucky to get out then. But I think it was a good performance. I started off a little bit slow, but then I started to find my feet in the fight, and I got a good stoppage at the end. And hopefully everyone else enjoyed it as well.
Touching on this WBO shot, and obviously if you don't win the fight on Friday, you're not going to be thinking about that. But I'm sure it's playing on your mind. What guarantees have you had that you'll receive a shot next?
Nothing really, because my last one was meant to be a final eliminator, and then it got changed like on the last week because Canelo came in thinking he was going to box Billy Joe. But you have to just take every fight as it comes, and I got one eye on it, but just keep taking every fight as it comes and keep my feet on the ground.
And just lastly, obviously, we heard the news that Callum Smith's going out to fight Canelo. First of all, what's your thoughts on the fight itself, and how do you think you would, tackle Canelo if you're in Callum Smith's shoes?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good fight, to be fair. He's quite tall compared to Canelo, like a lot bigger. And if I was fighting Canelo, I'd have to keep him on the end of the jab, like always moving. You don't want to stay inside, especially because it's smaller. Callum Smith had problems with John Riley because he was smaller and fighting in the inside. So you have to keep on the end of the jab and keep it long.
Brilliant, Zach. Best of luck Friday. Appreciate it.
Nice one.
Cheers.
Okay, we go to the boxing source next, please.
Hey there, Zach. How you doing?
Oh, are you all right, mate? You good?
All right, doing good. Just one question here. Given your status with the WBO as you're holding the international super middleweight title, you also do have a high ranking within the IBF. So what about a potential matchup with the IBF champion, Caleb Plant?
Yeah, obviously that's I was meant to box for a final eliminator for that against this German kid, but he pulled out, and that's another title that I'd like to go for. Caleb Plant's a good champion, but I think I could cause him a lot of problems, and hopefully I fight one day.
All right, thanks for the answer there, and good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's everything for now, Zach. Appreciate your time. We'll see you in the bubble later this week.
Okay, cheers, mate.